We had a great morning together today, and we talked about State Farm as a longtime partner of DDB's, who recently took their positioning and almost sort of went to the 180. So started to position themselves, as they have a more expensive portfolio, as being here for when things go right, as well as for when things don't always go as right as you want them to. And so some of the work that we've done most recently that just launched in June, I really feel is useful, interesting, compelling, share-worthy. It really meets that brief of, content coming into consumers' lives. Mm-hmm. We know they're seeing over 6,000 brand impressions every day, so the content's really got to break through. And I think that work is a great example of hard-working, compelling, commercially viable work that breaks through. I get asked a lot about the transition from client side to agency side, and I know that that's sort of interesting, and it's been interesting experiencing it, so I can tell you that. So on the client side, I think obviously you're dealing with a fixed portfolio and set of products for the most part. Obviously on the agency side, any given day I might be working on QSR or insurance or banking or government, or so we have a range of clients. So I really do like the range of the experience. I'm just delighted by the opportunity to work with all the different people in DDB North America. They have been welcoming and lovely and inviting and inclusive, and so I've drawn a lot of energy from working with them. I think, corporate to agency, obviously from an agency perspective, a lot of times we're pitching, so you don't know what pitch might be just around the corner. So you're never quite sure what RFP is coming or who might call you. And again, probably client a little more fixed, your annual planning cycle and your long range. There may be some competitive moves, obviously, where you're doing some things that might be unexpected, but there's probably a lot more unknown on the agency side than the client side, and I quite like that. DDB Flex is a way that we're now thinking about all of our agencies in North America. So we have 15 agencies across Canada and the US. And really, instead of thinking vertically about our agencies, we started thinking horizontally. So we have 2,000 associates across the two countries. And a lot of wonderful clients and brand opportunities. And DDB Flex is our way of creating bespoke and customized teams from sort of horizontally across our universe of talent across the two countries and bringing them to bear for those clients. So bespoke, customized teams, just what a client wants and only what they want. They don't, need to pay for things they don't want. But it's backed by, again, the scale of DDB. So you have the assurance and insurance of the scale of DDB behind a very small, bespoke, customized team that meets your needs. What I love about this from our associates' perspective is that it gives our associates the opportunity to have a look at different accounts. And I think one of the things about working in an agency is having a varied experience from the different brands and companies that you work on. And so it's probably more like an 80-20 principle, where you can spend 80% of your time most likely on the account or accounts that you are associated with. But that notion of flexing for 15 or 20% of your time and having new looks and new experiences and being able to contribute to an entirely different account feels interesting. And so I think that there's going to be some really great retention potential for DDB Flex too. So I get asked a lot about the notion of gender inequality in our industry. There's no question that continues to be a problem for our industry. I'm quite heartened by a lot of the discussion that's happened lately, simply because it's bringing this challenge and this issue to the forefront. That said, the talk is good, but we really, truly have to move to action now. So I like that it's bubbled up, and I like that the talk is there. But if we just keep talking, we're not going to see any change either. And so at DDB, we've done a couple things right away. We have mandated unconscious bias training for all 2,000 associates in North America by the end of this year. So everyone will have gone through that. And that's a very important kind of baseline action that we've taken. The next thing we've done is commissioned a gender equality survey with a third party who will come in and look at our work environment. They're going to study our pay, our promotion, our training, everything that our associates have, and ensure that we are gender equal in our activity, and if we're not, we'll understand where and how we need to take action. So again, that kind of third party, and it's a third party that accredits companies too. We are actually the first agency to ever work with them. So they've worked with very big companies like L'Oreal around the world. It's called the Edge. So that's another action that we've taken, and we are going to continue to drive this conversation and set of actions in DDB so that we get to results. And I think, finally, one of the things we all have to do as an industry is be willing to put these actions forward and out there so that we can all learn from each other. What's working, what's not, what did you do, how did you get around this? When we start sharing and act like a collective and a collaborative as an industry, there's no question that we'll have an all boats rise effect, and this is good for all of us. It's good for the industry, period. So while I, of course, want DDB to really have some success and some impact in this, I truly, honestly want the industry to have impact too. So I'm hoping we can all put our actions out there and share our learnings. For International Women's Day this year in February, we launched Talent Has No Gender, which was our point of view that talent's made up of a lot of things. It has to do with your education, like you're getting here at VCU Brandcenter. It has to do with your training, certainly your work experience, but your gender has nothing to do with your talent. And we really felt it was important to make that statement. Similarly, there are a lot of other things that don't have to do with your talent either. So your race, your religion, your sexual orientation, your ability or disability, none of these things has to do with your talent. And so we are expanding that platform from the launch of Talent Has No Gender. In June, we did Pride and Talent, which was for Pride Month, our position again, that there are a lot of things that have to do with talent, but your sexual orientation has nothing to do with your talent. And we are going to continue to launch this very expansive platform so that, first and foremost, the people of DDB who work at DDB understand that our ambition is simply stated as everyone wanting to be able to bring their best selves, their whole selves to work every day, right? That's all I want anyone who walks through the door to feel like every part of them is welcome at DDB. And when we do that and allow people and make people feel like they can bring their whole selves to work, then they end up doing their best work, right? There's sort of a natural correlation. And of course, selfishly, my ambition is that everyone can do their best work. So the job is to create a culture where everyone feels welcome and can be themselves. And that started with Talent Has No Gender, but we're going to continue on this diversity and inclusion initiative until we are as diverse and inclusive as the marketplace that we represent for our clients.